So I lead one hike a month for the club generally. And my hikes are advertised as slow but steady. There are other hike leaders who rock and roll. Like you, I can tell already.
Yeah, this is her pace in life.
Yeah.
Catscast recently set out with Michael Bongar, president of the storied 3500 Club, whose members hike a list of Catskills peaks exceeding 3,500 feet. We were joined by my friend Kathleen, whose goals usually involve speed, but for the most part, she tempered her pace to match our small group rhythm as we ascended one of the so-called trailless peaks on the 3,500 Club list, Southwest Hunter, also known as Levitt Peak. Michael joked that the cool hikers don't bother with checklists.
The really cool people don't keep track, they just hike. But
I don't know if he really believes that, and there's much to be said about the framework of a hiking challenge. I, for one, enjoy the satisfaction of checking off a list, and this particular list is a great way to experience the Catskills. As of July 2025, the Catskill 3500 Club boasts 4,718 members. That's 4,718 people who climbed every peak on the list and kept a record of it. Michael Bongar is member number 2173. And I hope to snag a number of my own within the next few years. In fact, despite years of hiking in the Catskills, I'd consider today's hike with Michael and Kathleen the first official hike toward my own 3,500 Club membership. And I couldn't have asked for a better guide to help kick off the challenge.
Hi, I'm Michael Bongar, and we are hiking up to Southwest Hunter from the end of Spruceton Road. We're on an old road now. In fact, we're going to see some colonial rock piles to the left. We're going to the waterfall. And then we're going to hit Devil's Path and hike up towards Devil's Acre Lean-To, and then down an old railroad grade to Southwest Hunter.
And Southwest Hunter is one of the peaks you have to climb to gain membership into the 3500 Club.
Right, the Catskill 3500 Club, which was founded in 1962 and was originally based on a list compiled by the Smileys.
Same Smileys from Mohonk?
The same. In fact, Virginia Smiley created the logo for the Catskill 3500 Club. But their list was about the habitat of the Bicknell's thrush. They were birders. And above 3,500 feet in the boreal forest, the first spruce forest, is where they fledge, like in June every year.
So 3,500 is not arbitrary. That number was chosen for the best chances of spotting this bird.
Correct. And subsequently, this mountain that we're going to was added to the list. It wasn't originally on it. Southwest Hunter, which is also called Levitt Peak, named after the couple who first did the 3,500 challenge, the Levitts.
That's William and Eleanor Levitt, club members 1 and 2 on the list.
And so at this point, 33 peaks need to be hiked in order to gain membership in the club.
Yeah, you want me to name them?
No, you don't have to. But you can join as an aspirant before completing the challenge.
Right.
Do you consider it a challenge?
It is a challenge, and that's the beauty. You know, it's really a great accomplishment for people. I love celebrating that accomplishment. That's historically what the club's all about. So 33. And the brilliant thing that the creators of the club did was they said, plus, you've got to hike 4 of them again in the winter. And people say, no, not the winter. And I may have even been guilty of that. The winter, even though I'd hiked my whole life and I did have winter camping and hiking, it's brilliant because it allowed me, for instance, to get skills where I could go out west and hike 14,000 foot peaks.
So what's your number, Michael?
My number is 2173. We're up around 4,600 now. I have some friends who are in the double digits and triple digits who aren't that much older than me. They just started earlier. What was my first peak? I think Wittenberg, Cornell, and Slide from Woodland Valley, out and back. And on that hike, they said, there's a whole list of mountains in the Catskills that are 3,500 feet. And it's also written in David and Carol White's books. There's a list, and it's sort of subtly put in there. We don't go out there trying to promote. We would rather people discover this on their own. I mean, that's the culture of the club. Yeah, we're not trying to recruit people to do it. And it's a beautiful thing when people discover this and then make the accomplishment.
The requirement is to hit the summits of these mountains, but sometimes the marked trails don't actually hit the summit, do they? They hit a viewpoint or something like that. So how do you know when you're truly at the summit and can check that off your list? And I'm sure that technology for doing that has changed.
Quite a bit. When I first started these, there was no GPS, no smartphones. We used a thing called a map and another thing called a compass, and they are beautiful. I encourage everyone to learn how to do it because your satellite can go down. You bring up an interesting point. I was just on Bearpen Mountain. There's some old roads, and you always went probably within 30 feet of the true summit, and I never bothered going off trail 30 feet to hit the true summit. But now there's a marked path. People want to tag that summit, and I like minimizing our impact on the mountain. It's important. Leave no trace principle is something that we embrace as a club.
Does the club care how you ascend, from which side or by which trail?
No. And there are always multiple ways. Interestingly, this mountain, Southwest Hunter, Levitt Peak, was historically the one where people would have to come back 2 and 3 times. Because as you will see in about 90 minutes, hopefully, it's a very dense fir spruce forest. And, we didn't have the internet. Now you just go on, you see, okay, there's an old railroad grade. Just go down that and then shoot up. Before that, people would go all different directions and routes. It used to be that we encouraged people to take different routes to the summits. Now, because of usage, we think it's great to limit it to a single path.
Established state paths.
Yeah. And then we're right in the process of that happening with the DEC.
About a third of the Catskill peaks over 3,500 feet are trailless, and traditionally, hikers would bushwhack with map and compass, finding their way to the summit and signing in at a 3,500 Club canister attached to a tree. These days, with GPS apps and increased usage, so-called herd paths have developed, and those formerly trailless peaks are now crisscrossed by a panoply of paths that can have a negative impact on the environment. Think ground-nesting birds and rare plants. And also on hikers, who might blindly follow what looks like an established path to some dead end on the wrong side of the mountain. To remedy this, the Department of Environmental Conservation just released a draft visitor use management plan for formerly trailless Catskill high peaks, with an eye toward official, sustainable trails. The department is accepting public comment on the proposal until September 15th. Here's Michael with more on that topic.
When I first did these, it wasn't that long ago, truly you bushwhacked. You had to reconnoiter the ground on your own using a map and compass. But over the years, and especially starting around the time of the pandemic, so many people were doing it that herd paths developed. The DEC released and completed their study, and it sounds like in the Catskills, there may be trail markers involved.
How does the club feel about that?
Club supports the DEC 100%.
Do you think the DEC will adopt mostly along the existing herd paths?
Some of them are perfect. They're along ridges, but some that go up a mountain are not sustainable and will harm the mountain, erode it. So it's a lot of work, and I'm hoping the club will be able to help the DEC. DEC has wonderful scientists. I believe that they're balancing between public usage and environmental degradation. I think it's going to be a really happy compromise. That's me speaking. The board of the 3500 Club has to develop their response. But it's going to be something like that.
Let's take a quick break as Michael and Kathleen and I continue our climb to Levitt Peak. And when we come back, Michael reflects on his learning to clown at Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College, and reveals a common thread with his work at the Catskill 3500 Club. How's that for a cliffhanger? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Catscast is sponsored by the Mountain Eagle, covering Delaware, Greene, and Schoharie counties, including brands for local regions like the Wyndham Weekly, Schoharie News, and the Catskills Chronicle. For more information, call 518-763-6854 or email mountaineaglenews@gmail.com. This episode is supported by Hanford Mills Museum. Explore the power of the past as knowledgeable staff guide you through the mill with demonstrations of the water wheel, sawmill, and woodworking machines. For more information about scheduling a tour or about their 2025 events, visit hanfordmills.org.
On our way up to Levitt Peak, I asked Michael Bongar about his current role as president of the Catskill 3500 Club, and he flashed back to his clown training at Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College.
There was an organization that I've been involved with, which I just have adored all the people, and that is the alumni of Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College, which I attended in 1973. And our graduates have won Academy Awards. One of our members was a co-founder of the Mark Twain Awards. And one of my classmates was Penn of Penn and Teller. It's a really great group of people and crazy, wonderful artistic types, right? Then when I started hiking the 3500, I had a similar feeling about Catskill 3500 Club members. Really interesting. What a diverse group. Tend to be, well, people who have the ability to accomplish a goal, enjoy this, nature. We're still in the hardwood forest here, which is second growth for sure. Those are yellow birch, by the way. I really liked the group of people, and I started leading hikes. I'm involved because of the huge salary that I receive and the private jet. No, it's an all-volunteer organization. In my career, so I went to Ringling, and I clowned quite a bit, did my own show, started my own business, an entertainment production company, and I'm still doing it.
Called Bongar Biz?
Bongar Biz is a trade name. It's Visionary Performers Network. Our main bread and butter is corporate.
Okay, I'd better interject here. So, if you're planning a big corporate event with unique entertainment, say clowns or fire eaters, singing waiters, tango dancers, strolling carolers, snake charmers, flamenco dancers, robots, mermaids, the list goes on and on. Michael Bongar is the person to call.
And I've been around the CEOs, and I've looked at these people, very accomplished people, and I've wondered, could I do something like that? I think I could, because I'm doing the same skills with musicians and dancers and actors and circus performers. So that kind of was a reason why I said, let me try this.
This, being president of the 3500 Club,
It actually is more complicated than I dreamed, but
What's the term for the presidency?
traditionally is 2 years.
And you've been at it for how long?
2 years.
So you were reelected.
Yeah. Here's the big thing about my term as president of the club. 4 years ago, the club changed its status to become a 501c3, a nonprofit corporation. And that was the right thing to do, it was the right time. Our vice president, Lori Herpin, is a professional in nonprofit fundraising, governance. So she has been unreplaceable. I couldn't have done it without Lori's advice on nonprofit. So I'm going to do one more year, unless I get impeached, which would be the best thing that could possibly happen, just to make this transition from being a social club to being a professional nonprofit.
Yeah, when you say social club, Michael, I expect there's this plush clubhouse where we all have a gin and tonic at the end of this thing, but that's not really
No.
the type of social club this ever was, right?
No, there was never a physical.
I'm still looking for that place.
Yeah. Well, it's called the Westkill Brewery.
Yes.
The thing that makes us really unique is the hike leaders and leading hikes, which are gratis.
Yeah, tell me about the guided hike. So you could complete this challenge, this membership with help. People
Yeah.
who know where they're going if you were uncomfortable or just didn't want to hike alone.
We have a wonderful, that's called outings. What David White does is called membership. We have a wonderful committee, 5 members of the outings committee, all terrific people. We have about 18, 20 leaders. For instance, I try to lead one a month. It's really great for me to meet aspirants, people working on their list. And my hikes, for instance, are this pace, which is slow, geared towards everyone. Slow but steady, I call it. We have other leaders who do more marathon type hikes, probably more to Kathleen's liking.
No, I'm enjoying this greatly.
I know, well, this is great. Part of it's meeting people. You know, our members are a lot of teachers, doctors, lawyers, you know, scientists. They're the folks that tend to like to clear their heads out. Terrific people.
Do those official hikes include the trailless peaks, or are the people
Yes.
encouraged to do those alone?
No. I know hiking my whole life, but the trailless peaks, I went on club hikes, so that's how I
Wow.
really got involved with the club. There were a few that I did on my own with a map and compass, which was very satisfying. But the longer ones, I would go with club hike leaders.
Is there some thread that ties everyone together, a type of person who wants to sign up to be a member of this club?
Yes, absolutely. Love of nature, respect of nature, wish to do an esoteric accomplishment. What appealed to me when I decided to do it, it's like, wow, I will really get to know these mountains in a different way. Knowing where all the trailheads are, going through all the communities to those trailheads. You see, there are certain features that repeat on every mountain, on many different mountains. And then there are features that are only in one place.
So the club, if nothing else, gives you a framework to get you to all these different peaks that you might otherwise skip if you were just kind of hiking scattershot.
Yeah, you really get to know the land, the earth, the flora and fauna.
Michael, can you tell me the process? Someone decides, I'd like to give this a shot. How do you start it and keep track of everything? And how do you voice those intentions to the club?
We voice the intentions by going on the website and paying $10 to register. That's your yearly aspirant fee. And then you just make a list, 33 mountains, 4 that you repeat in the winter. Winter is defined by December 21st to March 21st. Hopefully you'll meet some hike leaders. The first thing we want to let people know about is leave no trace and wilderness ethics, which are more and more important now because of usage. But also hike leaders are awesome at telling people about gear, equipment. My wife will say, it's all about the gear, somewhat derisively. But yeah, you do want to have the best boots, the best backpack, and boots vary from person to person, but we hike leaders really know how to recommend that stuff. So you've completed the challenge.
No time limit.
No time limit. You get your list together and you submit it to our membership committee, to David White. And David's awesome. You will get a wonderful letter from him.
And then you become a full member with a number.
You get a number,
A patch.
a sticker for your car if you so choose. And then it's time to work on your winter membership, which should be starting all over again and hiking all 33 between December 21st and March 21st.
What percentage of hikers go on to do that?
I'm going to say close to 25%. That's a guess. And we really encourage people to stay involved with the club.
Yeah, so once you get that patch, you can continue to pay your $10 a year. And what are the privileges of membership at that point?
You get our wonderful publication called The Canister. Plus, you can come to Winter Weekend, which we do every year at the end of January, and our annual dinner. You can become a lifetime member at the reasonable fee of $200 if you choose. And we encourage folks to be involved.
Michael, once you completed the 3,500 club requirements and the winter 3,500 club requirements, it's not like you're not still drawn to the trails, right? So
Yeah.
there's a sense of accomplishment. But
Yeah.
then how do you choose? Or how have you chosen, once those requirements were met, which ones do you go back to? Is it ones that you enjoy, or do you still try to diversify?
I try to diversify, and I try to gauge it towards what I think an aspirant's going to want to do. You know, I love meeting aspirants. I love meeting people that have never done one before. I vet people pretty clearly.
And I made the cut.
You made it.
Yeah.
And I got to
And Kathleen made the cut.
get along.
Kathleen, last minute. So I don't do the marathons. I try to do things that normal people would enjoy. And then learning about the people you're hiking with.
Michael, do you have a favorite trail in the Catskills?
You know what I love is being in the boreal forest. It's always a good 10 degrees colder than down in the valley. And it's a fir spruce forest. And that's what we have here when we're on top. And just the smell, the peacefulness, it's fantastic.
Getting ever closer to the summit of Southwest Hunter, I asked Michael to describe that canister we'd be looking for.
So a canister, I think they were originally like coffee cans. Right now it's a PVC tube with a lid, a very tight fitting lid, and there's a baggie inside of it with a little notebook. At the summit of the bushwhack, formerly trailless peaks, canisters have been maintained by Jim Boughton for 17 years. And he now has a very able assistant, Mike Sudi. And those two gentlemen are hiking these mountains on a regular enough basis to make sure that the notebooks are refreshed.
And so that is proof that you've made it to that trailless peak. And it
Yeah.
also, I imagine, is confirmation to the hiker that you've made it to the right place.
Yeah. Historically, before GPS, there were people, this in particular, Southwest Hunter, I have friends that had to come back 3 times because it was very difficult. Now, the DEC uses that information to gauge usage, by the way. They used to be gray. A couple years ago, we started to paint them orange. Trouble is the orange peels off a little bit, so they have to be refreshed and repainted.
Since this was a new peak for Kathleen and I, Michael left it to the two of us to discover the canister. And that's all Kathleen had to hear before bolting ahead of us in the final stretch. And then we heard her distant exclamation of discovery.
Oh, we're lost!
And about a minute later,
I found it, Michael. Good thing it's orange.
This is so cool. You better take pictures. Am I going first?
You go first. You found it first.
I found it first.
Kathleen and I proudly signed the register, and then it was Michael's turn. And since he's no stranger to this summit, I asked him,
What's it like to hit this summit one more time?
The weather's always different. And I'm delighted just to be here now. Fog, mist, trees, boreal forest, moss green, July 13th, 2025.
for a list of all the Catskill 3500 Club peaks, including Southwest Hunter and 32 more, head over to catskill3500club.org. Signing up as an aspirant grants access to guided hikes with experts like Michael Bongar. Since our hike together, I've managed to check 2 more peaks off my list, and I'm looking forward to adding more this fall. In fact, now is the perfect time to join the New York, New Jersey Trail Conference's annual Trail-a-thon, a community-driven fundraiser that helps preserve tomorrow's trail lands. Trail-a-thon is a 4-week hike-a-thon-style event in October that's open to everyone and completed anywhere, whether you hike, bike, run, or stroll. Every mile you track and dollar you raise supports the Trail Conference's mission to protect and maintain public trail lands in the Northeast. Getting started is easy. Set a personal mileage goal, rally your friends and family to support your journey, and then start moving. Log your miles anywhere, whether on forested paths, city streets, or even on the treadmill. Along the way, you'll earn awesome rewards, from Trail Conference maps and gear to exclusive prizes for top fundraisers and mileage milestones. Trail-a-thon runs October 1st through 31st, and registration is open. Register now at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/go-trail-a-thon to join the movement this October. Trail-a-thon, where will your challenge take you? Catscast, the Catskills podcast, is a production of Silver Hollow Audio. I'm your host, Brett Barry. Transcripts by Jerome Kozlowskis. Announcements by Campbell Brown. If you're enjoying Catscast, and we hope you are, please rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. Keep in touch at catscast.com and follow us on Instagram @Catscast.